Good morning, guys. Today is all about lemons. I purchased about 12 pounds of lemons yesterday. It was a buy one bag get one free sort of deal. So that was a good time for me to grab all of the lemons I want to use for different things this year. I don't have any that I'm growing in the yard, and I don't really have access to a pick your own sort of situation. So whenever I see a good deal on lemons, I go ahead and just purchase them and use them for all the recipes that I want to. To catch you guys up with what has kind of happened so far is I brought the lemons home. I went ahead and soaked them in hot soapy water, gave them all a little bit of a scrub, and then let them air dry for an hour or two before I zested about 10 pounds of them. And this is all the zest that I got. We are going to use it in a bunch of different recipes, and that'll include like limoncello, lemon curd. I'm going to make a lemon scrub out of it. And I don't like to do a waste of things, so after I had zested, I went ahead and peeled the lemons, and I have an electrical juicer, so I went ahead and juiced the lemons as well. I'm not crazy enough that I am going to try and get all of the lemon juice that I need today by juicing them. I went ahead and purchased just store-bought juice, but since I didn't want to waste it anyway, I have some of it here, and that is going to be used for like a strawberry lemon concentrate, lemonade concentrate, and a raspberry lemonade concentrate. Before I get to processing the rest of these lemons, I have one recipe that uses a whole lemon basically in slices. It is a cough soother or a honey lemon cough kind of tea sort of thing. I did this last year. I had a couple of these. This is the only one that we have left, and it's really simple. You just slice up lemons and pack them into a jar and pour honey over them. And then you let those sit for a couple months, and then when you have a sore throat or you aren't feeling very well and just want something to soothe you, you can take a couple of the slices out and pour some hot water over them, and it becomes like this lemony, honey, really nice kind of tea. It really does work. I really liked it last year. It was kind of a nice natural home remedy for when you have an itchy or scratchy throat. Honey has lots of good benefits, as well as lemon. So first things first is we're going to slice these up, pack these jars, and cover them in honey. So I'm cutting these into about 1/4 inch slices. You don't need them to be super thin, but you kind of want them thin enough that the honey can penetrate all of them. Just kind of squishing these in here. So I have about a cup of honey here. I'm going to go ahead and heat it up in the microwave just to make it a little bit easier to pour into these and for it to get all the way down into the bottom. Sometimes you might have to help it along in order for it to get all the way down. I'm just going to set these aside for a little while and let them settle down. I may need to top them off, but that's fine. Once I'm happy with kind of how it's all looking, that there's no air bubbles in it and that everything is covered really well, I'm just going to cover them with a lid and set them on the shelf, and that's where they'll stay for a couple of months until it probably gets into the fall and we have our first cold. So moving on to our next thing, we are going to make some homemade limoncello. For that, you will need some 100 proof vodka and your zest. You can use pretty much any 100 proof vodka that you would like. I believe there are several brands. I think this is Smirnoff's 100. There's Everclear, and Pinnacle has a 100. Pretty much anything that is 100 proof or 50% by volume is good for this recipe. And all I do is pour it into one of my mason jars, and we're just going to put our lemon zest in there. And we're going to start off with about half a cup. We'll see how much this jar holds. So I would say that's about 3/4 of a cup in there. And all you need to do is seal it off, throw it into a dark, cool place somewhere, and give it a turn every couple of days, and let it sit there for at least probably a week to 2 weeks. I've kind of left it up to a couple months, and then you will come back and add it to some simple syrup, and you will end up with limoncello. All right, so we're moving on to our first batch of lemonade concentrate. This will just be the plain lemonade. It is going to be 5 cups of the lemon juice, 5 cups of sugar, and 5 cups of water, all heated up to 190 degrees. And while that is warming up, I'm also going to warm up my jars. While that is warming up, I'm going to go ahead and hull and wash up my strawberries that I just picked from the garden. I don't know if I'll have quite enough from this gathering, but I have been freezing them over the last week or two, so I'll just pull out a couple cups of frozen strawberries if I need those. I finished hulling my strawberries, and I ended up adding about 3 cups from the ones I had already saved in the freezer. I just heated them up in the microwave for a few minutes and then dumped them in with the rest, and then I'm going to puree them. I am still waiting for this to reach 190 degrees, so once it gets there, we will start canning it. All right, we are at 190, so I'm going to give it a quick skim since I used quite a lot of the homemade lemon juice. And then this is going to go straight in our jars. We're going to leave the 1/4 inch of space at the top. We'll go ahead and wipe down our rims with white vinegar, put our lids on, tighten them to fingertip tight, and then they're going into the water bath. And I'll crank up the heat on the water bath until it comes up to a full boil, and then it'll be a 15-minute time. So while my water bath comes to a boil and that does its 15 minutes of processing, I'm going to move right into my second batch, which is going to be the strawberry lemonade concentrate. This is the one that's in the complete book of home preserving on page 190. And I'm going to be doing a double batch because I want to get pretty much a full canner load of this. That means all my strawberries and the lemon juice and the sugar are going to go right back into the same pot. Since most of these recipes are not making a full canner load of the quart jars, they're either making like 6 or 7 pints or only 3 pints or something like that, I have just been adjusting the recipes proportionately in order to get to a full canner load. So for like the just straight lemonade concentrate, I ended up actually doing almost double the recipe. So I just kept adding equal parts of water, sugar, and lemonade until I got to where I knew I was going to have about 7 quarts. I know where 7 quarts is on this pan. It's just below these handles here, or where the rivets are for the handles. So I know that's going to give me a full load for my water bath canner. And I'm going to do the same thing here for the strawberry lemonade, just kind of adjust it as needed until I get a full batch. This just reached its 15 minutes processing time, so I'm going to turn it off and let it sit for 5 minutes before taking out the jars. This is coming up close to temperature now, and so we're just going to rotate them through. I went ahead and prepped the raspberries by using the blender on them for the last, third, and final batch we're doing today. All right, round 3. So this recipe for the raspberry lemonade is not technically in the book. Raspberries just happened to be on sale, 2 for 1, and I was doing this already, so I wanted to give it a try. I'm following the exact same ratios for the most part that are in the book itself. It may have a little bit less raspberries than they say to have, but it's close enough. There's the same amount of lemon juice and sugar. And I don't think this will make a full canner load, but since it's kind of an experiment, I'm okay with that. So we are officially done with all of our lemonade concentrates. I'm going to set these aside to cool. I obviously kind of have already cleaned up the kitchen a little bit for round 2, where we're going to be making some stuff with our lemon zest. Moving on to our lemon curd, I have all of my eggs here in this pan. This serves as my double boiler because I don't have like an official fancy one, and I use my canner as the lower boiler. I've got my eggs here. I'm going to start adding my sugar. Got my lemon measured out and my butter measured out, and we're just going to go ahead and get this all put together. This recipe is one of the few recipes that you can have eggs in. There are some stipulations with that. You can't just throw them into your water bath canner. Things have to be at kind of a certain temperature. The mixture is going to be at 170 degrees when it's done, and the boiling water and your jars need to be at a specific 180 degrees when you put the mixture into them. The reason for that is that the processing time isn't just the 15 minutes of boiling time that you would normally have. It actually includes the entire time that it takes your water to heat up to boiling. So you'll put your jars in at 180 degrees, and then the entire time that it takes for your jars and water to heat up to boiling, and then the 15 minutes are all included in the processing time. Looks like we almost have a full jar left from this recipe. I'm not going to can it. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in a jar and put it in the fridge and use it that way. Alright, well, those come to boil, clean up a little bit, and we're going to start working on some sugar scrub. What I have in here is some shea butter and cocoa butter. I have a bunch of stuff left over from when I used to like to make soap as gifts and stuff, and lotions and things like that. So I'm just kind of using up all my odds and ends that I might have. I have a whole like little box collection of things, and I'm just kind of making this up as I go. I've done this several different times now, so I kind of know a little bit about the proportions. So I will put the final recipe for everything in the link below, and you guys can give it a try if you want. The nice thing about sugar scrubs is you can keep them really, really simple, like literally coconut oil and sugar with some of your favorite essence of any kind. Or you can get a little fancier and put some more nourishing products in it. So I have like jojoba oil, almond oil, some glycerin, like I said, shea butter, and coconut butter. So I'm just going to make this up and we'll see how it turns out. So for my whipped sugar scrub, I took my solid butters and oils, which is like the cocoa butter, the shea butter, and the coconut oil, and melted them all together, and then added the liquid oils that I have. So that's like the jojoba oil, the almond oil, and the vitamin E, as well as the glycerin, and mixed those all up really well so that they have an even consistency. Put that bowl into the fridge for about half an hour to 45 minutes. It re-solidifies basically, and then I get it into my stand mixer here and whip it up. It makes a fairly good, like it looks like whipped butter basically. It's very interesting, but I prefer it over the, and it kind of melts obviously because it's your skin temperature is warm enough to melt it down. And as far as dry ingredients go, I have sugar, I have our lemon zest, and I have some cornstarch in this bowl here, and I will just add it to this mixture basically until I get the consistency that I want. So to test out the consistency, I just take a little bit in my hands and just kind of do a little trial run. And I don't like mine super overly sugary where it's just all sugar. So this is kind of a good mix. Dry your hands off as normal. And it's not too greasy. It's probably a little greasier than if you had some additives to it and stuff, but I do add the cornstarch, which is a slip agent. It helps things not feel so greasy on your hands. So that helps a little bit. Well, that is it, guys. It has been a long day, but we got a ton of stuff done. We have our honey lemon cough tea soother ready to go. I made a bunch of little pots to give away as gifts of whipped lemon sugar syrup, as well as some larger ones to keep for myself. We have some lemon curd, we have our limoncello starting, and then we have a bunch of lemonade concentrates, straight lemonade, strawberry lemonade, and raspberry lemonade. I do have a little bit of zest left, and with that, all I pretty much do is dry it out, and I will use it in just everyday cooking. I can also make a lemon and pepper seasoning, and all that is the lemon zest, pepper itself, and some salt. So that's a super simple thing to do with it. And as far as all of the rinds and pits and things, I didn't let them go to waste either. I threw them into this bin and threw a bunch of white vinegar on top of them. I use white vinegar quite a lot in the kitchen and various other places in the house, but the smell, a lot of people don't like it. So if you put white vinegar on your lemons like this and let it soak for a little while, it will leave a lemony scent instead of the white vinegar scent. So I will just strain this off in a day or two and use that instead of my white vinegar. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I hope you found this process interesting, taking all 10 to 12 pounds of lemons and making all this various things from it. It is fairly cost effective, especially when you get your lemons on sale and you kind of use every single bit that you can. I also had to buy about 8 of the like store-bought lemon juices to complete the concentrates. So that is a factor, but I get a lot out of them overall, and I get a lot of things that we really enjoy. This lemon concentrate is some of our favorite stuff to drink. We kind of hoarded it away last year and had it on very special occasions. So I was very excited to make quite a bit more this year. If you guys like videos like this, please let me know by liking. If you have great ideas for what to use lemons for, I've got a couple left. I would love to hear in the comments below what I might be able to use them for, and I'll see you guys next time.